We are continuing to monitor results from every race, from the balance of power in Washington to several state propositions. Joining us live now to break down the results as they stand is Sara Sadhwani, a professor of politics from Pomona College. Professor, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Donald Trump is projected to retake the White House, this time not just the electoral votes, but with the popular vote, too. What message does it appear that voters are sending?
Well, it appears that Donald Trump has received this mandate from the American people. There is no question about these results. He has swept all of the battleground states to the extent that we see these counts having come in thus far. And this is a commanding victory for Donald Trump. Unlike in 2016, when he won the Electoral College against Hillary Clinton, but lost the popular vote, leaving many with questions and doubts about the Electoral College. There's no question here. He has received this mandate from the American people to finish perhaps what it was that he had started 8 years ago.
Professor, Vice President Kamala Harris started her presidential campaign less than 4 months before Election Day. If she had had more time, do you think it's likely we would have seen a different outcome?
It's entirely possible. Certainly, Kamala Harris's rise to become the Democratic nominee was an unconventional one. There was never a primary in which she was elected to serve in this capacity, though, of course, being the vice president, she was a natural fit. But this was an unusual process for someone to arrive in this place at this point in time. So hard to say, but yes, certainly had there been a longer opportunity to campaign, perhaps that could have shifted the tides for Kamala Harris. No doubt in the coming weeks, as we continue to pour through exit poll data and vote returns, we're going to have all sorts of analyses of this historic run for Kamala Harris, thinking about what went wrong, from Biden not stepping back sooner to whether or not having a primary was actually a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Now, Republicans set to take control of the Senate, but could there be a path where Democrats regain control of the House? Any surprises from our local races?
You know, it's interesting. As of this morning, it looks like Republicans are up in many of our swing districts here in California. The balance of power in the House of Representatives could really turn on both California and New York, two historically blue states. But I have to note that, of course, here in California, we have an independent redistricting commission, which I had the privilege of serving on. So we have some of the most competitive congressional races in the nation, despite being this blue state. As of this morning, Republicans are in the lead in many of those districts. However, there's still, of course, many ballots to be counted. Here in California, ballots will continue to pour in over the next week or two. And so much to be seen. And certainly what stands today is not necessarily the final conclusion.
Well, Professor, Adam Schiff is projected to be California's next senator right now. We have some results. Adam Schiff leading 57% and Steve Garvey 42%. But there's been some speculation Steve Garvey helped to get Republican California voters to the polls when they might have stayed home if he had been facing another Democrat. Do you think we saw that?
Hard to say. I think since coming out of the primary, this has been Adam Schiff's win. There was never any doubt that Adam Schiff was going to win this seat. It has been quite some time since Californians have elected a Republican to any statewide office. So Steve Garvey's chances were always quite minimal. And I think that's a big reason why we didn't hear a whole lot about this race over the last several months. It has really kind of been in the shadows behind a barrage of commercials on those congressional House districts throughout the state. And of course, presidential advertising. Largely, this Senate race has been relatively quiet in the last several months. This was always Adam Schiff's seat coming out of that primary.
Interesting. Professor, turning now to the district attorney's race, Nathan Hochman projected to win by double digits, which is what the polls predicted. Is this a reactionary message from voters?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, back in 2020, just 4 years ago, we saw Gascon come into office on a wave of voters asking for criminal justice reforms. And we see that the pendulum has now swung back in 2024. Nathan Hochman, of course, coming in, talking about how he wants stricter policies on the minds of voters for the last year or more, has been this wave of smash and grabs and retail thefts. When people walk into pharmacies, they see products under lock and key. And so most certainly this has been a major shift from just 4 years ago. We're seeing it not only here in Los Angeles in this DA's race, but also in the results on Prop 36, which rolls back many of those criminal justice reforms of the past.
And speaking of that, Prop 36, that would allow felony charges for repeat drug and theft crimes. This was pretty much expected, was it not?
It sure was. The polling on this has shown that Prop 36 was going to be popular amongst California voters for the last several months. So in this regard, Californians are really taking a position towards moderation, whereas California is often seen as this blue progressive state. On criminal justice reform, from the Prop 36 to this DA's race here in Los Angeles, we are seeing a real moderation on criminal justice reform in this election.
The Californians appear to be rejecting Prop 32, which would raise the minimum wage. What's your analysis of this?
Look, nationwide, the economy has been the #1 issue. And nationally, at the presidential level, it was an issue where Democrats have struggled. Clearly, Kamala Harris was not able to reach voters with her economic plans. At the end of the day, when the cost of eggs, milk, gas, rent has increased, ordinary Americans and ordinary Californians are feeling the crunch. Just 2 years ago, Californians increased the minimum wage for fast food workers. And what we immediately saw was an increase in the price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks and of a Big Mac at McDonald's. So I think this is certainly on the minds of voters this time around. Ordinarily, we see Californians approving increases to the minimum wage, but this time, with the economy at the forefront of people's minds, it was a tough sell. And certainly there's still plenty of ballots to be counted. The race is relatively close, so things could change. But as it stands as of today, it's not looking so great.
And we will be following it throughout the day. Professor, a proposal to expand rent control has now failed with inflation and the cost of living. Is that a surprise?
Not really. This measure has occurred on the ballot for the last 3 elections and has failed every single time. So there is not much interest from Californians in expanding the opportunities for local rent control. Again, this would not have mandated rent control, but simply would have provided municipalities with the authority to enact rent control. But across the board, what we're seeing here is Californians saying no to rent control. Obviously, the message from some economists that has been put out there that rent control could actually make our affordable living situation worse and make it harder to have investments in affordable housing worked and has worked over and over again in California.
Well, Professor, last question. Any surprises in any of our local elections? For example, the 45th district, the most expensive House race in the nation, this contest between Democrat Derek Tran and GOP Republican Michelle Steele.
Yeah, this race is still neck and neck, and absolutely we are going to continue to see ballots pouring in over the next week or week and a half. Anything could change at this point. We have most certainly seen, if we go back to 2022 and take a look even here in Los Angeles at the mayor's race, on election night, Rick Caruso was in the lead, and over the course of several days, as more votes came in, Karen Bass, of course, took that lead and won that race. So it's much to be seen as more ballots keep coming in. But this was absolutely one of the most contested races. I think one of the most interesting pieces here is from redistricting. Little Saigon, the neighborhoods of Little Saigon, were consolidated in one district. And this is an interesting matchup between a Republican who is a Korean American and a Democrat who is Vietnamese American. So it was a real question as to whether or not Derek Tran was going to be able to win over the Vietnamese community, who is often very conservative, leans towards the Republican Party, but could he do it as a Democrat? Not looking likely this morning, but again, many votes still to come in and to be counted.
All right, Professor Sara Sadhwani, professor of politics from Pomona College, thank you so much for being with us this morning and sharing your insight. We do appreciate it.